And good evening, everybody. I'm Meteorologist Nick Stewart. We continue to track that potential winter storm as we head towards the early part of next week. Still a lot of details that have to be worked out, but I figured now would be another good time to kind of provide a quick update on things as we're still seeing a lot of chatter about this. And it will likely be a high-impact winter storm for somebody. There's still question remains, though, who will be most impacted. That is something that we will be looking at very closely. First, I want to set the stage on things as to what we're dealing with. For one, the storm that we're going to be dealing with, it's still a long ways away from the central part of the country. Right now, you're looking at a satellite loop. It's a water vapor loop of basically the western hemisphere, the northwestern hemisphere. You got the United States over here, Iowa right here, Missouri over here, Illinois right here. So that's kind of setting up that tri-state area. The storm that we will be dealing with early next week, again, this will likely be in that January 9th through 11th time frame, is this big donut hole still spinning here south of Alaska. So we're talking about a storm that is upwards of 2,500 miles away. It has a long way to go, and over that course of 2,500 miles, a difference of maybe 60 miles is the difference between Chicago getting rain or snow, Cedar Rapids, Iowa getting snow or maybe nothing at all, and St. Louis having a lot of issues. So there remains a lot of potential outcomes with this system, mainly because we still have a long way to go. I want to also look at the current hazards forecast. This is from the Weather Prediction Center, the Climate Prediction Center, and the National Weather Service, just to kind of also set the tone that I'm not just kind of talking about this for clicks and things like that. This is a pretty real forecast that a lot of people are talking about. You can see in this blue contour here outlined, this is the area for heavy snowfall potential. Here it's centered on January 10th. This includes the potential for much of the state of Iowa, northern Missouri, northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin to much of Michigan, as well as the state of Kansas. The other threat with this, I don't want it to get too lost, is the potential for some very strong winds. We're going to be likely dealing with a powerhouse area of low pressure that will be deepening or getting stronger, and therefore it will likely pack some pretty strong winds. So if we do deal with a lot of snow cover, we also are dealing with impacts well after the snow ends, including low visibility, maybe blizzard conditions with those really strong winds. And if we do see kind of a heavier wet snow, especially very close to where that area of low pressure tracks, we could be talking about power outages, snow loading, all that snow weight on those power lines getting knocked around in the wind. That could pose a problem there. So let's take a look at the upper level pattern. We're looking at the European ensemble, so one of our main weather models that we use. Here is that spin right now. Again, it's south of Alaska. Look what happens as we go through time. It enters the northwestern United States. A lot of people asking, when are we going to have a good picture on who will be most impacted, when the biggest impacts will be, how much snow are we going to see? Once this big trough in the jet stream hits the Pacific Northwest, it'll start getting sampled by our upper level balloons, our weather balloons. They're very critical in terms of forecasting. And right now it's kind of in no man's land. There's not a lot of great data that we're getting from this, but once it crosses into the Pacific Northwest, we'll start getting sampled by radar, getting sampled by weather balloons, and that'll greatly increase our confidence in terms of forecasting. We anticipate that trough in the jet stream to intensify with time, dig south, and you can see a big bowling ball there in the jet stream. That big dip there in the jet stream, that is your strengthening air flow pressure near the surface. Now we're looking, of course, at the European ensemble because I like the European model. I think it's been handling this pretty well compared to the American GFS model. And again, we're looking at the ensembles for this. The reason why is because I think it's been handling it better. But just for fun, here's a GFS. GEFS, the ensemble base, and you'll notice there's not a lot of change between these two. We're talking about a storm system still several days away, and the overall pattern, the upper levels of the atmosphere, they're not that different, really. And so that is why we kind of have what we'll call moderate confidence with this. Matthew chiming in saying strong winds and bitter cold in the backside of the storm. Yes, cold will certainly be a concern, including dangerous wind chills. We will get to that. We have not had a lot of cold temperatures so far in this winter. We likely will once this passes. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but because you asked, if we look forward deeper into mid-January, you can still see this kind of strong northwest flow here, big dig here in the trough in the jet stream that is pulling that colder air. So that will continue as we head into mid-January. We talked about this if you were on our Facebook Live or on our YouTube stream earlier in the week. We talked about the big range and possibilities at the surface. Again, the strongest snow threat will be kind of hugging the area of low pressure and just the north and northwest. We had a range of solution from about Dubuque, Iowa down to Birmingham, Alabama. Now notice the areas of low pressure. This is the same model run 50 different times, and you can see the agreement is much, much better today. We are really starting to get a better idea that that storm track, the center of it, will likely be about maybe Joplin, Missouri to St. Louis, Missouri, over towards maybe Springfield, Illinois. Very close, and it continues to strengthen as it goes towards the Great Lakes. The difference of track of, say, 60 miles is still all the difference between heavy rain, maybe heavy snow, even severe weather in the southeastern United States will be concerned with this. So a whole range of possibilities. And if we look at the probability of 6 inches of snow, we have a brand new weather model coming in right now. This is the 18Z run of the European Ensemble. And you can see kind of what I was just alluded to. I have not looked at this yet, but this is based on everything I've been seeing so far. I talked about the potential of Cedar Rapids maybe just missing it. This model is hinting at just that. Again, we're talking about maybe some impact still. We're not going to be out of the woods, but in terms of where the heaviest snowfall may be, that area of heavy snowfall, it's slowly getting a little bit more clear. So now we're talking about this narrower band here of at least 6 inches of snow expanding from Kansas City over towards Quincy, Illinois, southeastern Iowa, including Lee County. We've got Fort Madison, Keokuk, Burlington, perhaps clipping the Quad Cities over towards Rockford and Chicago. So that heavy snowfall band is starting to get a little bit narrower, and our confidence is increasing in just that. It will not take much. If this shifts northwest a little bit more, this could put eastern Iowa right back in it. If this shifts southeast a little bit more, this could put St. Louis right in the thick of it. But we're starting to get a kind of a bit more of a clear picture that the heaviest snow axis may be kind of northern Missouri into northern Illinois and clipping southeastern Iowa. We have weather models. They're really great to use, but we also have what I like to use a lot of what's known as analogs, or basically a historical data set of this event has happened. Similar events to this have happened in the past. What was the outcome? And so what you can see on here is kind of interesting, is that the analogs are actually hinting that the heaviest snowfall threat may in fact be farther southeast, even more towards St. Louis, Springfield, Illinois, down towards Indianapolis. I do think this is a bit of an outlier, and part of the reason why is that this is also using the GEFS, or the GFS model, and the American model, which I don't think is handling things quite as well, but it does show you that we still have some time to go. We're not completely figuring this out quite yet. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will likely do another Facebook Live probably this weekend once things really start getting more in a line. I'll be posting more here on Facebook as well, and I'll also be posting more over on my blog at MidwestWeatherCenter.com. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Have a great rest of your evening. Happy New Year if I haven't said it to you already. Have a great night, and we will see you again the next time we chat.